Welcome back to another mastermind call, Every Move Collective. Thanks for being here. We're going to be learning about commercial real estate with Minhaj Hussain. Before I go ahead and introduce Minhaj, I just want to remind you who we are. So myself, my mom Eva, my brother Dylan run a top producing team out of Westchester County, New York, and Connecticut. We also run Every Move Collective at eXp Realty, which brings you these bi-monthly masterminds. It's a space where we can, learn from other leaders in the industry, network, and be in community. And we do them twice a month. So thanks for being here. If you haven't been here before, we hope you continue to come back. We always have a different speaker talking on a different topic. This is a new topic for us, commercial real estate. We've never brought this topic to our masterminds before, so really excited to have Minhaj with us today. And we encourage you to be as conversational as possible. So if you have questions or you just want to jump in with a comment, either use the chat or, oh my God, can you guys hear that outside my window? It's extremely loud. Give me a moment.
It's
Oh boy.
funny how little you hear the background noise when we're on these Zooms.
Oh my
We
gosh.
couldn't hear it.
Yeah, it's just the garbage truck. Anyway, so yes, cameras on. If you can, use the chat, be conversational. Let Minaj is here to be a resource for us to learn a bit about the world that he works in. So feel free to ask away. So just a little bit on Minaj, and then I'll let him introduce himself. Minaj is a managing director and principal at Mather Carroll, which is a boutique advisory firm specializing in real estate banking, advisory services through eXp Commercial. And he's had senior roles at Cushman, Wakefield, Morgan Stanley, co-founded Syzygy Group, and served as a CFO there. He's got a master's in real estate development from NYU and an MBA in finance from Monmouth. So he is extremely knowledgeable professional in this field. And like I said, take advantage of this time to ask him whatever questions you have. So I'll hand over the mic to you, Minaj.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to, connect with the eXp Realty world in any shape or form that I can to and help out. There are so many people, great people that we have at eXp, and it'll be awesome to connect and work with all of you as well. Um, okay, we already have something from Chris. What is that? I'm sorry, I can't see. What's the
There
question,
are
Chris?
several commercial groups. It's not a question, but it looks like he's just pointing out that eXp's workplace does include a couple groups that specialize in the commercial space. And just so everyone knows, we do have we have eXp agents here. We also have non-eXp agents here. So this is a brokerage agnostic call. So obviously
Gotcha.
we're with eXp, Minaj is with eXp, but not everyone here is necessarily with eXp.
Understood. Yes. It's great to connect with any and all brokerage people that are in the brokerage world. So, and that's what we'll do. I'll just kind of hoping to go over some of the things, just give you a brief introduction on the commercial landscape, on what we are and who we are, and not what EXP is, just more on the commercial side. And then is the sharing on?
Yeah, you should be able to share your screen.
Okay.
While he's doing that, if everybody wants to just drop a note in the chat where you're from, so we can get a feel for who's with us.
Yes, please.
There we go.
All righty. So, okay, so you guys can see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So yeah, just going to go through some a quick slide just to get if you guys have any questions on this that just how speaks to this. Commercial real estate, essentially there are multiple buckets even within the commercial real estate side of the business. We've got the office that's there, there's retail, there's industrial, there's multifamily and other specialty, which is the hotels, healthcare, and the new crazy group that's growing astronomically fast are the data centers. All of this comes under the commercial side of stuff. We've got multiple characteristics. We look at income generation, the long-term leases that kind of come about, the investment opportunities. That's both people looking at just income, and then some looking at just the asset appreciation side of it. It requires generally a lot more money than in the commercial side rather than the residential size. It's the largest, pretty much the largest size of the market in terms of an asset type. It's a $1 trillion industry that's there. These are some of the what we call CBD areas that where it's extensive. In New York, LA, Chicago, Houston, those are the growing stuff and everything else. We've got trends that kind of go towards urbanization, e-commerce, which is kind of changing it. All of this COVID, after COVID, things have also changed in how things move around. That's one thing that you need to stay on top of, and how things are moving from the office to the mixed use type of thing that's there. And sustainable development. To know the investors in CRE, we've got the institutional investors, private investors, international money coming in, and REITs. Every one of these investment profiles are different, and their needs are different, their niches, how they look at assets, and what kind of return profiles they require. All of this is different. So you need to know and categorize them. So sometimes you already know what they're looking for. Sometimes it's a matter of understanding what that particular investor has um, created, or has created the profile for their investments. And then you kind of get down to it. How we look at investments in the CRE world, cap rate is extremely important. We look at the cap rate, and then we look at net operating income, which helps us derive the cap rate as well, the occupancy rates, and then the term of the leases that are there, whether we're dealing with leases or we're looking at acquisition of properties or anything else. All of that is important, because if the lease on the property is short, then the valuation of the property is going to be also different depending on the lease that's there on those properties. Some of the factors which are pretty much the same on the resi side, location is the same thing. The economic conditions are pretty much the same thing. Property conditions go along the same way. And, the market supply and demand. We just take all of that stuff with a lot more detailed, granular way for a long-term basis on how things are going to go, because these are larger investments. Again, challenges, e-commerce, industrial demand, that's grown up significantly. The hybrid work model that we know is a major change, where people are working from home more than offices. The sustainability initiatives, green buildings, everything, and everyone that is subject to the interest rates and all of that stuff. It's just multiple opportunities in every type that's there on the commercial real estate. Focuses are always, we do certainly look at the income side of things versus on the residential, where there might be a bigger personal aspect to it, where people are impacted. Okay, what is it? How much do I like a place versus how much money is it generating over here, right? And that's pretty much where we get to. The other thing that I did want to go over with everyone over here was something in terms of what type of investments, where the relationships lie for everyone.
If you're trying to pull something up, I don't think we're seeing it. We're still seeing the conclusion slide.
Yes, give me 1 second.
Okay. Maybe by a show of hands or comments in the chat, has anyone had experience in the commercial industry, or are we mostly a room full of residential realtors looking to learn a little bit about an industry that feels foreign to us? I'm getting a nod yes from Michael. Roxy, 4 years experience, but in another state. Awesome.
Oh, great.
We could spend a little time talking today about state to state differences in how commercial, varies depending on what market you're in, just like with residential, of course.
Cool. Yeah, if anyone's got questions, please go ahead. This is the other thing that, I don't know. All right, so yeah, this document essentially is just kind of going on. My intention over here should I zoom that in, or are you guys, can you read this stuff?
Maybe a little bit of a Zoom, or everyone else, you can also, like, each person can individually Zoom too to the size that works for
Okay.
them, but that helps, yeah.
Yeah, all right. So this, the intention here was just to kind of go over all the different opportunities where you might see or have uh, connections already there where you can choose to bring those deals on the table. You might know commercial people, but you just don't think about them. There are properties that are owner occupied. You know that they own some of these commercial properties that you're dealing with on a residential basis. But if they have commercial properties and they need to free up capital from their commercial properties to help them with the resi side, you can make that happen. You can just kind of bring us in on the deal, help them on those transactions too. Sometimes there's some distressed properties sitting out there, you can always let us know about those. We can see if there is something that we can kind of help to bring that to the market and alleviate the pain points for that particular owner. There's some off-market properties that you come across, they might be good. We just might have people already looking for them, right? And it's always good to kind of spread that around so that we can get the deal done or potentially get those off-market properties on and listed over through our EXP thing. We can always make a pitch and get that listed. Um, there might be people that business relocations, expansions. If you have anyone looking for start up a business, we can help on that. Even leases, people have commercial places, they have that. There's a renewal opportunity. We just come in, all we do is renew their leases, and there's a big check out there for it. That's all there is to it. Just kind of take that on. Corporations, if you have people. So the whole thing is essentially if you go down, now, let me just go slowly through this thing. These are all the different types of ways that you might know of people. Investors seeking out properties, redevelopment. There might be opportunity zone investors. The 1031 exchange people, they might have sold something. Even if they've sold something on the resi side, they've gotten a big check. They might not be looking to invest just in residential. We can help them find some kind of a money investment for their money so that they're not taxed like crazy. Because you've been helping out people on the resi side, you might be connected with CEOs, CFOs, COOs that make decisions on real estate for all of these companies. They might be corporations or just real estate, heads of real estate people, banks, lending institutions, lenders, underwriters, all of those people have connections. All of them are going through all types of commercial related stuff. You wouldn't, if you know them, that can help and bring deals to the table.
I will actually just, on that topic, one of the questions that someone had submitted in advance to the call was, what are some basic sort of discovery questions that you can have with people like, at financial institutions or other people that might be connectors in the commercial space to, sort of discover what opportunities or connections they can introduce you to, or, is that something that you can provide some context on?
It Um, it depends who that particular contact is, right? If we can kind of speak to one, I could give you an example of, let's assume that it is a bank. If you have a contact into a bank, then we're looking at, say, there is a department where they are essentially dealing with foreclosures. They're banks, they can't hold on to the properties. They don't want those properties. They want to get them off their books. Banks don't like to own, they're not operators. If a bank is coming to hold a property, they would want it off their books as quick as possible. If they have access to that person who handles the foreclosures, then they would have a list of the properties that are coming up for foreclosure, right? They can give those bank-owned property list to us, and then we can help them. We can either be a realtor, a real estate person for them, handling the sale of that commercial asset, or we could just find the buyer straight up. So that those are definitely things that we can kind of help out on. Um, but again, the zoning department, when you have people like the zoning department people that are there, you would know, even from your residential perspective, they would be able to tell you, okay, you know what, this particular area is going to be rezoned for development. And there are certain types of things that are happening where instead of you being able to build just a single story home, now you can build a 3-story home. There's a big change to that. And that is when the big developers come in. They're like, all right, you know what? All of this valuation work that you are doing based on single family homes, now let me just buy that block and put up all of these 3-family homes over there. That's a big change that kind of comes around. Let's capitalize on that. And then the bigger institutional money can come in and take care of those things, right? Um, there's a couple of years ago, we were working on just green. I was putting a little bit of time on the sustainable side of stuff. I believed in solar companies. We tied up with a large solar company, and we're looking at just large land parcels up in New York, and we did some California options too. And you create those solar farms for them, and then that was another nice opportunity that had come about. All of these accountants, attorneys, they know all of these things that are happening. Financial planners, they come across all of these deals and they want synergy to work with them. You can bring deals to them, they can bring deals to you. The latest person, most recently, I got in touch with a title guy, and he is bringing on all kinds of buyers to me because of him having a lot of those contacts. It was but yes, those title companies, they need people, they need brokers to work with as well, because anyone who's looking to buy a property requires a title search to be done, right? So those are great people. Architects, contractors, property management firms, they know that somebody's holding a portfolio. In this particular world where we are in right now with the US, there is a big significant change of wealth that's going on, being passed on from older generation to the younger generation. And not only just assets, but also businesses. And they just don't have the new young generation does not want to take on the businesses. So they're coming up for sale. A lot of businesses are coming up for sale and they haven't been managed right. So we also have in our team um, business brokerage specialists who can help out either plan for your exit, or if you are just fed up, get you to that exit right now. All of that stuff kind of happens even over here. That kind of comes out.
Minaj, I have a quick
Yes,
question for you.
go ahead.
Since you're talking about businesses, um, do all businesses that you manage own property, or is it, perhaps businesses that are leasing the properties they're in? Is it just a combination of all of the above?
Good question. Yes, it's a combination of all of the above. So sometimes they own the asset and sometimes they don't own the asset. The important thing is to find out first if they have a long-term lease on the particular property. If they have a long-term lease, then there is some value to the business, and then we can kind of sell it and capitalize on it. If the lease doesn't exist long enough, then your business is only good up to the lease. And that makes it difficult for anyone to sell. So we kind of urge them to kind of, okay, now you need to plan. We can help you secure a long-term lease or at least negotiate that first. And then your business value can be incorporated into a sale of that property. But yes, it's will help you through valuation of the business and the real estate, or even break it up for that matter. Okay, you can't run the business. You want to just do you want to just sell the real estate side of it, that's fine too. Right?
Thank you.
Sure. And sometimes they're startup people. So we have a team that we've partnered up with that even allows and gives a full overview on their startup. So how we have credit scores for personal people, they give credit scores on the business side of it, still on the startup side. So they'll take care of it. They'll look through your business. They'll understand what it is, if it's credit worthy, all of that stuff. Then they also have a pool of angel investors that'll come in to help you out, kickstart the business, if that's where it is. Because I want to focus only on the real estate side of it, but we do have people that can help your business side of it. And if it grows, then of course you're going to come and look into real estate. And we've helped a couple of businesses do that as well. Even to the point of one of the people that we successfully helped, they had zero experience. This was a cannabis related company that we kind of helped start off. They didn't have the funds. They went in. One of the people from our EXP Realty Group was a specialist in podcasts and social media. They took them on, brought them onto the podcast side of it. They grew up on their awareness, were able to raise the capital, and then we successfully helped them find a place, move into a place, and worked on the commission side of it. So it was a long drawn. Some of these transactions on the commercial side, the are 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year. So they're long, they're not short, but we work through them. And it's more of a relationship building thing than just get in there, get the job done. All right.
Yeah. So while we were sitting here, I just got a text, and I want to, it kind of ties in with a question that I had to ask you. So I'll just jump in here. I just got a text that says they have a client looking for investment properties in the Connecticut area, close to NYC. Can I help? Okay, so I get texts like this all the time from other agents that I know. And, as a residential agent, I never want to say no to anything, but I also
Agreed.
don't want to say yes to something that I really can't manage well. So what type of dialogue do you suggest to your residential partners to, make an introduction to you and perhaps have this, go in your direction, as opposed to me just saying, nope, can't help?
My first thing, because there's so many follow-up questions that kind of come along in this dialogue, and it becomes like a back and forth thing, I just ask that you set up an introduction call with them and with the parties that are there looking to buy, and then we evaluate them. Because otherwise it just goes on like, okay, what is this, what is that? It just takes too long to really validate if this is a good opportunity or not, right? A quick conference call addresses everything, and we're not wasting time.
Excellent.
Okay, cool. um what was the other thing that I thought we'll go through is,
I derailed you a little bit. Sorry about that.
all right. um
If anyone has any questions, feel free to jump in.
I am hoping that we'll have some conversation around referrals and how that works in the commercial arena versus residential. Is it the same, different, some combination?
Yes, okay, let me bring that up, just kind of the commercial um, referral agreement that we have over here on our end. So, oops, sorry.
My name is Arya Colby and Minhaj. Also, I do residential for 25 years, but the reason that I chimed in because I definitely want to be a referral source, but also want to learn is, should you really dabble into commercial and what it takes if you really want to embrace that, or should you be a strong referral agent, know just enough to make sure, yeah, this is worthy of referral, and refer them to people like you to make sure that now you don't really kind of just
So first thing, Arya, I don't like the word dabble, right? I mean, it's make a committed effort into commercial, and then we'll totally be able to help you out, bring you on board, and show you the way. It is a vast commitment. It is a bigger umbrella. So choose what you want to do. Either stay in residential or come to our com. We're here with open arms. We want more people on the our commercial side of the business. We can always use more people. Do that, or just, yes, do the referral and take that on. That would be my
thank
thing.
you.
And there is enough time and effort. You stay in your side of the business and do well, and then we can also have referral opportunities, and your referral people will appreciate the relationship at any end. From every transaction that we do, the relationship is always yours, so you are only making a deeper relationship with your clients. We like that as well, right?
Thank you.
So
So I
this
look
is
forward
what,
to get the way that we can refer out, because I think I'm strong in the residential, and I think I've done that for 25 years. So I want to be a strong referral partner versus then just kind of like try to get into it and then maybe not be.
sure. And that's there. This is our thing. This is the thing that's different from that hopefully our guys on the commercial side will take on. We've kind of established that there is a certain type of transactions where people ask for a higher commission referral, and it's just not possible for on smaller transactions because of the amount of work that goes in on our end. So we'd like to be very clear and transparent and not create different type of referral fees across the board with everyone else. So we have this template that's created that depends on the size of the transaction. This is what we kind of give off towards the commission, right? There is, when we say leasing or sales transactions, there are leasing transactions can also end up being high. When you have a 10-year lease and the amount of annual revenue that the landlord is getting, let's just say for every year, if the landlord's getting $1 million, then, and it's a 10-year lease, then the total revenue on that deal is considered to be a 10-year lease. And the commission that you make is on the full 10 million. And that is what is different on the resi side. You're not just doing it for a 1-year thing. We take the whole 10-year thing into the picture, and then this is what it would be considered a 10 million transaction, and you would get 25% referral fee on that. If it falls in between, then it kind of comes into whatever bucket it goes in. The other thing that we've done to create more synergy and tie up with people on your side is to, with resi brokers, is to kind of keep this open to not just one transaction. So if you did one transaction that kind of came up to like $2 million, so that's a 10% referral. And then you bring in another referral that kind of comes in with another 1.5 million, then you're over the 3 million mark. So on the overall, we will give you that 15% because you've crossed the threshold into the second one. It's not just a one-time thing. We want this relationship to grow, right? So we'll consider that and pay you based on that. And that will be a clawback coming out of our pocket on the first deal, but we're fine with that because we want to keep the relationship more than anything else and value that part of it, that you are someone who's coming back to us. And that to me is important. But otherwise, the rest of it is just a standard EXP referral agreement.
And just for clarification, these referral fees that exist within EXP commercial, are those pretty standard for the industry?
This is something that I've created, so it's more of a standardization from our end. And
Okay.
this is something that, as a senior advisor, I've pushed it out to the EXP commercial guys, and they were supposed to have adopted it. I don't know if it's adopted across the board, but they like this suggestions just to kind of keep it simple for everyone else rather than have their own. Everyone goes all over, and sometimes some people say that they're going to give 25%, but they don't realize the amount of work that they've taken on and then have to backtrack. I don't want that type of a scenario coming out. And I'd like to be supremely clear from the start that this is what it is, this is what we're going in with. And there should be no issues if we start off correct on the right foot, right?
Got it.
Any other questions on this?
Someone did ask if they could get a copy of this.
Sure. I
Okay.
can send it to you, Colby.
Yeah, and I think Aria earlier asked if you might be willing to share some of the documents that you had screen shared.
Sure.
Like, yeah, okay, great. Because we can send
Yes,
that all around in an email after to everyone who attended.
absolutely. I can do that.
Perfect.
That's there.
I think that that list is really helpful because I think as a residential realtor, I don't always see the opportunities when I'm having a general conversation with somebody. You know, I know how to get the conversation to go where I wanted to as it relates to residential real estate, but I don't always know the questions to ask um, to get the conversation going in terms of the commercial side. Like, for example, I have a cousin who's a dentist, periodontist, and we were just casually having a conversation around his lease. But I don't normally think that way, right? It wasn't until we started to have that conversation and I thought, oh, I know a commercial person, they can help you. So what are some of the suggestions that you maybe, or what do you do when you're having conversation um, to, you know, attract more business?
So here's the thing. I think, Eva, let's do a Q&A. Let's assume that the person that sent you the text is you and you come to me with that question. Okay, let's assume you have a background, you know what your investor is and who you are, and then you ask me, do you have somebody that can help you? And I'm here over here. And let's just run through and you give me all the hypotheticals that are there from your end. Is that cool? We can run a quick scenario on that end so that I can kind of quickly answer it.
Sure,
You want to
sure.
start that off?
Yeah, absolutely. But I would add to that that, you know, a lot of times people aren't coming and asking me that because they think I'm a residential realtor, so they don't even ask the question. So, you know, how I can better prompt them to start to come to me for that kind of stuff so I can come to you. But for this exercise, yes, let's say, you know, so a friend of mine asked me the other day about this warehouse that's in Elmsford, and they want to know if I can help them find out more about it because they're looking to open up a business.
Okay, yes, we have all the tools that are there that can tell you more about that particular thing. We don't know if it's on the market. If it is on the market, I'll check it out. But do you know if they are working with the first question? Do you know if they are working with a specific broker right now to help them find this property?
Yeah, no, I don't think they are. They're probably they're actually in the very early stages. I sold them their house last year, so they reached out to me, and I didn't really know exactly what questions to ask, so I told them that I would reach out to one of my partners in the commercial world and get back to them.
Do they have an existing facility? Do you know if they have that? Is there a lease that's expiring? Do they have a time frame that they're looking for?
I don't know a lot of specifics on their timeline, but they don't have an existing facility. They're looking to open up a restaurant supply chain store, you know, where so they'll need a lot of storage, restaurant supplies, and they want to service local restaurants.
Okay, and this would be, do you know the approximate geographic area where they're looking at?
Well, they sent me one, they mentioned one, space in Elmsford. I looked online, I didn't really see, nothing came up attached to the address, so beyond that, I didn't really know where to look.
Okay, so it helps. You also know you help them buy their new house, so you would know where they live. So we can look for something proximately close to that and in that area, right? We can come up with opportunities in there besides this property. And approximately, my question would then be how many square feet is there? It going to be, what is their budget? If they have an existing facility, how much are they paying for it? What is their timeline? Because for a generally a commercial transaction, we also need to know very clearly that they have at least 6 months or more just to kind of get that done, because it's not going to happen just so quickly, right? Otherwise, then we have to find out interim situations, solutions for them, just so that they can work with their existing landlord. Then again, go through their lease. If they have a lease, then there are certain provisions in that existing lease where they would be penalized astronomically if there is something called a holdover. The holdover rent on certain properties on leases can be up to 200%. And that's what I do on my leases too, just so that we don't want anyone staying over beyond what their lease is, because we make commitments to lease the space out to somebody else. And then all of that chain gets broken up, right? So all of these things that kind of need to be funneled and cleared up. And that's when we kind of look to get in on, form up our relationship. And if this is a good fit, help them out, clean up their existing situation, find the new space based on their budget and everything else, and then make it realistic. Is it possible? Can they take on this type of facility? It requires about 20,000 square feet. Also, how much office space would you need with it?
Right.
Um, how many people
So,
do
but
you have?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but quick question there. So the conversation you're describing is the conversation they would have with you,
Correct.
or a conference call, like you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
So it
Yes.
would be safe for me to say that there are so many moving parts in the commercial world, for example, lease terms, pricing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that it really would be important for me to connect you with an expert so that we can better define what you need, would
Correct. I
be the
mean,
way to
yes,
go.
exactly. And that's
Okay,
why I'm just trying to give you an idea of how detailed this thing
right,
can kind of go. And there
right. So,
there is so much more back and forth that's required. And it's best if we get on a call rather than somebody try to handle asking those questions
right.
for us.
Right. So those
Right?
wouldn't be questions I would ask. It's just to have basic knowledge and know how to point them in your direction. To the second part of the question that I was saying about, you know, when I'm having a conversation with somebody about their home or any general conversation, I always bring in, something about their home, something about where they live, so that I can have some conversation around real estate. Is there a special question or two that you would ask as a commercial broker that, leads the conversation in that direction?
Um, so you're saying that you're having a conversation with somebody with respect to their um,
Yeah, how do I
this is
tap
just an
into?
open-ended conversation that you're having with somebody that you've met, and then you're talking about their house, and then this is there. So the way that it would lead to a conversation towards the commercial side would be based on who they are and what they are. Primarily, if they are a C-level person that's there in a company, especially if they are a CFO or a COO of some company, then they are in a position to be making real estate decisions. If you look at it, real estate is um, it depends on where you are. It's either number one on your as far as your expenses go for a business, or it's number two. It's either employees or it's your real estate, your lease, or your taxes and everything else. So those are C-level decisions that people need to make. And they are definitely interested in meeting people who can help them cut down their bottom line.
Okay, that's good to know. So basically know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else? See, my other intention was to kind of go briefly just to for everyone to understand a little about how we run and do our stuff once we have a deal, once we have someone signed up on our end, and then um, give you a brief idea of some of the transactions that we are working on. Let me change that. All right, keep losing my mouse. Okay.
Are you trying to close this?
Oops, no. No, I am. No, let me just start this thing off. This is one of my properties that we're looking to sell, and we just created this uh, video on it. So I'll run that quickly.
What is your background?
The exceptional potential of 99
Can't,
Avenue.
we can't see it, Minaj.
Commercial property nestled in the vibrant heart of
I
Brooklyn.
can't see it. Can you
This
guys?
Oh,
expansive
sorry.
property spans 53,000
Thought I
square.
was sharing. 1 second. Now?
Yes, now we can see it.
Yes.
Okay.
Discover the exceptional potential of 99 Scott Avenue, a prime commercial property nestled in the vibrant heart of Brooklyn. This expansive property spans 53,000 square feet or 1.2 acres, featuring a recently gut-renovated building with approximately 30,000 square feet, fully leased to a diverse mix of tenants, ensuring immediate value and consistent income. One of the standout features is the adjacent lot, ready for development with leases coming due next year. Located in an M31 manufacturing zoning district, the site offers the potential to develop over 82,000 square feet of industrial space with 14-foot high ceilings. Additionally, the easily accessible flat roof presents an opportunity for outdoor events with stunning views of the Manhattan skyline. Situated in an M31 manufacturing zoning district, this property is perfectly positioned for industrial development. Its strategic location, just a 6-minute walk from the subway, ensures excellent connectivity, making it an attractive option for businesses. Embrace the potential of 99 Scott Avenue as your gateway to boundless opportunities in Brooklyn. Whether you aim to expand, develop, or simply enjoy a steady income from existing tenants, this property offers unparalleled versatility and promise.
So this was just the marketing video. Then we have 2 other packages that are set up just on this property. One would be a teaser, and then there would be a full-blown package if people are interested in it.
And with a property like that in the current market, how long do these typically take to move to an accepted offer, accepted contract, and then close?
About 6 months to a year. I mean, it also depends on how well it is structured and everything else. So to the disclaimer here on this property is this is one of my own properties. So I know how to structure it. I've waited for the right time for it to come to market. It wasn't like somebody who did not know about it, right? So we've structured the leases accordingly. The leases are expiring. We know we can capitalize on it now. So we went about doing it at this time. Otherwise, it could be a lot longer. And plus, we're working on it on an off-market basis. It's not kind of out there in the market. because then it would lead to the valuation kind of coming down. That's another side of things that we know, that things don't move. Once you hit the market, then the valuation will not be what it is. We're very close to contract on this and have a couple of offers. It's just a matter of time when we should be closing on this. So this
So
is
you don't put it on the market because of the risk of days on market hurting the valuation? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, because our for us it's all about the off-market people. We know all the buyers out over there already. We know who they are, who will buy it, except for some institutional outside investors. There's a very small community of buyers that'll take this down. So we'll just send it out already to them. If they see that we've put it out on the market, they know that they can come back and offer a lot less to us on it, and that we're not getting the market price. So you want to keep it off market as much as possible.
And if the seller isn't as savvy as you are, because this is your own property, part of what you do for them is educate them on the approach and the value of the property?
Correct, absolutely. I mean, I'd have to do the same thing. I have partners on this transaction. It's not something that I own outright. So I have to educate my partners as well. They give me the responsibility because I have a brokerage arm on it. And they're like, of course, you get the first to get this thing done for us. And that's where we kind of take this on, show them what it is. And they're absolutely okay with the way direction we take in terms of keeping it off market and then going on market if the pricing that we're looking for is a lot higher, and we're not getting the bites at that number, then that's what it is. This was also priced way above. If you look at it, on this particular thing, we're pitching a development play over here. There is parcel of land over here, that's this portion over here that is not developed. The air rights in New York City are so much more valuable. So we are pitching the value of the air rights rather than the income on the property. And we have to make a case for that to be able to show that this is what it is. This is not just if this is the full larger package of the whole thing. So it's 25 pages. Given time, I'll just kind of run through it, but this is talking about the location, talking about the development plans, how we kind of get in on it, what we propose, how we make the revenue on this particular deal when we go through it, what's the cost of the development, what kind of revenue are we going to generate on it, and why we're coming in with our asking price of $27 million, which is way more than what the NOI generates, or the cap rate kind of makes sense. So it has to kind of come in. There's a full financial analysis of how much we are making on each one of the tenants and how much, again, my assuming we do not get rid of those leases and we release the property, it's more about looking at projected income in 2026. So I've put that down, which then the numbers bump up significantly. So I have to show that, and I put all of those pro forma numbers in here that speak to who it is and everything that kind of comes on with it. Right?
So this is the first time I've seen a full presentation, a full commercial EXP presentation, and it looks robust. Do you also share this with non-EXP commercial agents, just to show them the value of what you're able to do and, perhaps promote a partnership?
Sure, this is something that we'll do that with the people. This is a package that's there. If you know, generally this is shared with NDAs and everything else, but given we're part of the family and we're connected, I don't. And this is also the part that this is my own property. I can do whatever I want with it. I share this out openly with everyone. There are certain deals like this one, I took it off specifically from um, I took out the name of the hotel because I can't share that. We don't have an NDA and everything in place. Just to kind of give an idea that this is another property that we have multiple offers on, and hopefully we should get this thing done. This is over 1,300 acres of land. It's got all kinds of stuff that's built in. It's a huge resort with all types of amenities and facilities. It is based off a relationship with a bank that I've had for over um, 10, 15 years. So it's a foreclosure transaction that kind of comes in my way. And we're looking to get that done. And that's another property that's there.
Gotcha. I have something a little off the beaten track than what we've been talking about, but if somebody else wants to jump in, please feel free. My question has to do with, it seems like there's a lot of opportunity for residential realtors to refer to commercial. Because it comes across my path, I don't know what to do about it or do with it. And so I want to pass it off to somebody who can, and I can earn a referral fee. How often do you find the opposite is true? Are you, in these commercial transactions and hearing that somebody needs a residential property? And do
Absolutely,
you
all the
pass
time.
that on or do you do it yourself?
No, I don't touch residential deals at all, so I'm definitely passing those on. I am very clear about it. I stay in my lane in terms of what it is. I wouldn't know how to begin or do anything. I totally appreciate everything that you guys do and have the patience to deal with people and work with them. I don't have that. I prefer numbers, and that's where have my skills, and I add value to the property in terms of the income side of things. So yes, it's every single time I will make it very clear that I don't cannot do, but I can pass it on and help you guys connect you to someone who can take care of it. So just in the Westchester County, I'm sure that we will have hopefully a lot more residential people kind of come in. We've closed a transaction and we've helped them, went a little above and beyond because it was a Down syndrome center for the Down syndrome kids, and they work completely on donations from people. So we helped them set their facility up, helped them with their lease. Their numbers weren't great, but they've done fundraising, done whatever they can to make it happen. Found them a location. They've signed the lease. It's hopefully coming together. But we certainly now we know that they appreciate what we've done, and will probably hopefully be getting a lot of referrals, and we can definitely have them connect out to you for anything that comes from their side. Right.
Excellent. There's somebody in the chat who echoed your sentiment. Colby, I don't know if you could see who it is because I'm on my phone instead of my normal laptop.
Yeah, it looks like Meryl. I mean, I saw Meryl say earlier in the chat that in the past, recently you moved over from residential to commercial, and I'm sure that was a big decision for you to make. And actually, if you want to share about it a little bit, we'd love to hear it.
Sure. So I did residential for 8 years. And I always had the desire to go to commercial, but it is a big jump. And as I was talking to a lot of commercial professionals, they kind of made the distinction that they either did one or the other. They usually didn't do both. And I think the emotions of the residential side started getting to me a little bit, and it started kind of affecting how I was interacting with people. So I had to make a decision just to let it go. So I've been doing it for the past year, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And the beauty of it is that because I did residential prior to, 95% of any potential clients, leads, or current clients that I have came from referrals from residential agents who didn't know what they were doing. And the synergy works very well because I won't touch a residential deal at all. Like it has to be like my brother or my mother or something like that for me to even look at it. But most of the 9 times out of 10, I'm usually referring that business right back to the agent that referred me the commercial deal. It just doesn't. It just works better that way. It makes it easier. It's a lot smoother. But yeah, ever since I moved over, I love it. There's so much opportunity on the commercial side. There's so many different ways to make money. The amount of people that you meet are extremely interesting. They do a number of different things. But yeah, the residential agents are my best referral clients. Like by far they're my best referral clients.
Meryl, can I ask you, how did you break into the commercial space? What was your blueprint for transitioning?
So if I'm being very honest, so the first broker I worked for was the director of development for a real estate investment trust. So he kind of piqued my interest in the development world and commercial world my first 3 years in real estate. Then I parted ways with him, went through the residential piece, but I still had, commercial was kind of playing in the background. But over the last year, it just got to a point where I kept running into people who needed commercial space. I kept, I was going to conferences, development conferences, and just having conversations with folks, and just understanding, like he was saying earlier, just like there are a lot of business owners who are retiring and getting out of their business. The same thing holds true for the commercial side. There are a lot of most of the commercial agents that I've met are at or near retirement age, and there really aren't that many people that are replacing them on that side. So this just seemed to be a very good opportunity to go. And I've always done real estate adjacent to another career. So the career that I'm in now, I primarily talk to business owners about grant resources that the state has, and I work out of the state of New Jersey. So essentially, I kind of almost align my job with the commercial side. So I'm essentially talking to my potential customers on a regular basis and kind of getting a better understanding of, what they need, how they work, how business is moving throughout the state. So it kind of worked itself out to do that. So to answer your question, it was a lot of these conversations, a lot of webinars, a lot of books, a lot of conferences that I just paid to go to just to kind of sit in the audience and kind of see and be able to talk to the people who are actually doing the transactions, and just kind of really figuring out where my lane was and how I was going to get there, and then being okay with not, with taking my own path through it. Like I know a lot of folks were, very adamant about you have to do everything full time, you got to drop everything, and I understand why that's the sentiment, but I wasn't in a position to do that. But I figured out a way to make it work in my favor, and it is, slowly but surely, it is working out that way.
Oh, good.
Thank you, Meryl. Appreciate you
No
sharing.
problem. No problem.
Hopefully, this call is some people's first step towards that path that you just talked about. And we hope that everybody got some value out of the call. We are just rounding about the 3 o'clock hour. Cole, did you have anything you wanted to add or wrap up here?
No, I think thank you, Minhaj, for your time and for educating us on your world. I think that, hopefully people will leave here and start to think more often about how they can collaborate with the commercial space, whether it be referrals or, considering moving into it like Meryl did. There's obviously a lot of opportunity there. And yeah, I think if you can share those handouts with us, we can get those
Absolutely. I'll
out to
send them to
everyone.
you, right, Colby? I'll just send them to
Yeah,
you.
send them to me, and then everyone on this call will get a follow-up email with some of the resources. We'll provide your contact information as well. So if anyone wants to reach out or establish a referral relationship, you can do so.
There is one more question in the chat here that just came in, and it says, do you or anyone in your circle offer mentorship for those fully transitioning from residential to commercial?
Yes, I am a senior advisor and a mentor. So yes, I do. Under the EXP commercial umbrella, we do. I do take on depending on a case-by-case basis, I do take on mentorship.
Okay, great.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
We'll share that info when we send out the email. It was great to see everyone.
Yes, and our
Thank
next
you guys for
call
having
is
me.
on November 18th, I believe, and we'll be talking about how to really, build a community that supports you in your business. We're bringing on Will Higgins, who is an EXP partner of ours, so we'll send around the RSVP link to everyone, and we hope you join.
Yeah, he's grown a phenomenal business. Try to tune in.
All righty. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and have a
Thank
really
you.
great week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Minhaj. Thank you.
Bye,
Right.
Minhaj. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys. Thank you.